Gonna make the profiles boom, 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 boom. What it is, as you can see by that thumbnail right there, today on Gunner's Profiles, we're gonna get into some, I guess, some real talk, an unfortunate situation, something that's really, I don't really like to speak on too much, but it happens, man. And I felt that if for no other reason, we should put it out there. This ain't no fakery, shaking, and bakery. This ain't no added preservatives. None of that bullshit. This is real life. Now, Ray Garcia, former warden of a federal prison in Dublin, California, was running what they consider and what they have been calling and dubbing the rape club, right? And I don't take those words lightly. You know, when women are incarcerated, women are doing time, you know, people say, you know, they need to be treated a certain way. There's expectations there. They need to be treated with respect. They're women. Again, men and women are two separate entities. Okay, men are a little bit rough around the edges. When it comes to prison times, there's certain things you can and cannot do as a man. And everyone understands that, and they expect the brutality, the treacherousness, and everything about prison that comes along with it to befall a man. That's cool. It's fine and dandy. You know what you sign up for, right? You're in the trenches out there on the calles, handling your motherfucking business. You get locked up, I can't bang, maybe the boop, boop, boop. Menudo. Let's get it, right? And menudo's not in direct fashion, but at the same time, women also get incarcerated. And I'm not here to belittle them and say that they're not about that business, because there's some women that they beat up guys, man. I got homeboys with missing teeth talking about my old lady hit hard. Hey, I know she did. I fucking know she did, right? But at the same time, they're still women. And they need to be treated with a little bit more respect, I believe, and a little bit more graciousness, I guess. You know, you would say, I don't know how people were raised. I know morally the way I was raised, a woman's a woman, and she needs to be treated like a flower. Orale, see, look, I'm a nice guy. I can subscribe women. But at the same time, in Dublin, at this federal correctional institution, this ex-warden, Ray Garcia, is being accused of running a rape club, right? Or that was the nickname given to this place, because I guess he was found with a lot of nude photos of several of these women, inmates, on his phone. And it's being alleged, now I say alleged because he's in court right now, he's going to trial, but it's being alleged that he was running a very heinous operation to which he was the mastermind of. Now, it's unfortunate, it's a sick thing when these guys feel they have the power and they're put in a position, you know, to basically protect these women, to watch these women overdoing their time, and they're the same ones ridiculing them, hurting them, you know, just being that predator, you know. And it's fucked up because you get these people backed in a corner where they feel, especially these women, they feel like that if they don't do what this guy is saying that they have to do, there's going to be repercussions for their actions. Now, of course, it all starts out fine and dandy. He's promising them fucking Hershey kisses and transfers and everything that anybody would want, any hardship. But again, everyone's going to pay the price for the $1 million man, right? Everyone's going to pay the price. There's things that he wanted, of course, allegedly, that they're saying in order to grab these things or to get these things. Now, in a situation like this, everybody knows it's bad. Not only does this guy know it's bad and he's fucking using his power to implement these schemes on these women and basically manipulating them into doing what he wants to do, whether it be sexual gratification or any other thing, but also for these women, they know it's wrong. But they still continue to do it because they have hopes that maybe this one guy will show them a little bit of love. Maybe this one person will be a little bit different from what their everyday routine is and what they're going through. Now, of course, it's alleged that not only did he start off, you know, whining and dining and it was all good, but he got more aggressive as it went along, to the point of extortion, to the point of you're going to do this or else. You know, when you back a person into a corner, especially women, they have no one to turn to. They don't know what to do. Now, of course, it did come out. A lot of these photos of these women, he was making them allegedly pose in awkward positions, naked for him, did come out. And he is on trial for that. Of course, excuse after excuse after excuse. I didn't do it. She wanted to give me the pussy, right? Is going to be his defense. Again, when you're in a situation of prison, the person who holds the keys has the gun. They're always ultimately going to be the one dictating the program. The inmate, the convict man, is just going to go with the flow. That's just the way the world works. That's the way it is. Hey, you did the crime, now you're doing the time. But people that are in there, correctional officers as well, will make you do time for doing that crime. if you understand what I'm saying. Read between them lines. Menudo. Now, trip out on this. I wanted to tell a story about situations. When it comes to inmate-staff relationships, it's a very sticky situation. Sometimes, people want to blame that officer like automatically. Now, when it comes to the women side of thing, I think the men have a little bit more fault, allegedly. There are some women that can manipulate some shit. They could also do the extortion thing where, hey, here, look at that pussy, right? Oh, shit, that motherfucker looks juicy, right? Oh, now I'm going to tell your old lady and everyone that you was looking. And it could go a whole different route. And I'm sure in some instances and situations it does. But for the most part, it doesn't play out like that. Now, I've been done time where, and this is the way it is. When motherfuckers are doing time, if you could knock you a CL, if you could knock you a BI, if you could knock you a bad one, shit, why not? You know what I mean? A man doesn't stop being a man. A woman doesn't stop being a woman. Shit, if she got big old noggins, I'm looking. I don't give a fuck if her uniform's green or fucking blue. What's I'm looking, right? That's just the nature of the beast. That's the way men work, right? Show! Mousy, drop that shit, homeboy, right? You're looking at that ass, and that's just how it'd be like. But you got to know how to play your cards right. There's certain situations where there are women that they're just there to do their job, or even men in some cases. Some of them vatos are hot titos like a motherfucker. They be in that motherfucker like, Sasuke, I've been down 25 years, that's it. Just the way that blonde hair and them blue eyes hit. And then Sasuke, let them do their thing over there. As long as we don't see it, right? No DP action. So look, in a real life situation, I've seen instances where females were knocked COs. And whatever business and whatever they did and whatever they brought and however that worked out, that worked out for those individuals. I remember in one instance I was out of state doing time and this one female officer, man, she had her husband that worked there. And I've told the story a little bit. I've touched on it. And she was fucking with a couple different guys. She was actually causing tension and friction between these individuals because they were both trying to get in their motherfucking guts, right? And they both were. But at the same time, one of them wanted something a little bit more. The other one wasn't really tripping. He was just trying to get his issue on. And in the meantime, her husband was sitting there scratching his head like Walt from Breaking Bad, wondering why fucking Jesse left with all the money, right? It was just a bad situation. What ended ultimately happening was this guy goes home, this correction officer, and sees pictures, of his, well, I guess he had went to a guy's cell, searched the cell, and found pictures of his couch, his old lady in this guy's cell, and Sasuke didn't quite work out well for everybody. Did he divorce her? I don't know. I just know that it was a big thing. We all talked and joked and laughed about it. And in the end, she ended up getting transferred somewhere else, and she was getting it long dick style over there from Michael Irvin, right? And it's just what it is. He was in that motherfucker, go Cowboys, right? I'm telling you, it'd be like that. She was wide receiving. Now, that was a situation of a woman just being a mañosa. She wanted more than she could eat, right? And in the end, man, it fucked everyone off. The inmates end up catching inmate-staff relations. She ended up getting transferred, not fired. I don't know why, but it happens. I don't wish bad upon anyone. But she did get transferred. Her husband sat there looking like the poop butt with jokes made about him. You know what I mean? There was his coworkers were like, damn, she was giving it, she was sucking dick. He was like, oh man, that's fucked up. Anyways, it happens. Now, I was in another situation where I was in a shoe. I was doing shoot time, and there was actually a placa that was a little bit more over familiar with people than he should be. He was just cool, man. I'm not gonna never say his name because he was that one, was able to fucking, hey, can you give this to the homie and you know what I mean? And shit works out like that sometimes, man. And you don't throw those guys under the bus because hey, a little help is all we need, right? But I remember I used to chop it up with him, and one time he comes to me and he's like, hey, I'm out of here, man. It was good meeting you. I'll see you later. He was that type of individual. He was cool like that. I said, well, where are you going? He said, well, they're going to open up a new women's prison. I'm transferring over there. I'm going to be a sergeant. I said, show, you about to get it, huh? He said, long dick style. He was going to go over there and have it his way like the Burger King, right? And sure enough, it wasn't but 6 months to a year later that I remember opening up a newspaper. I was getting the newspaper at that time and reading that he had just been arrested at the prison for several inmate-staff relationships. I guess he got several women pregnant. He was over there really doing it. I thought, to what degree of doing that? The wind was blowing like a hurricane in that motherfucker. He was over there just distributing dick like a helicopter. He was over there getting his issue, and that's just the way it works out. Now, again, was this a situation where he was backing women in the corner and making them? I don't know. I never read up on that. I just knew that he got caught up for inmate-staff relationships, and it was a pretty big thing because he was a sergeant, and he was having it his way. Now, let's fast forward to what happened at Dublin. That has been deemed the rape club, right? Pretty heinous name in itself. Basically, it's saying that things were happening even worse than these women are alleging that that Ray Garcia did to them. Okay, being a warden, being this high level and having this status in a prison, the warden's the ultimate. There's times you don't even see the warden. You don't even get to lay eyes on this motherfucker. He's doing big things behind the scenes. He is making sure, or she, that prison is running according to as it should be. They're the one. They got the ultimate say, the final word. They're right under the governor. That's just the way it works. Now, when someone's in that position and they're making rounds and it's alleged that he was making women strip for him in cells, they knew what time he was going to come around for count time, make sure that you're naked and juicy, right? He was just doing all these different things to him. And I guess there's been some alleging that he actually had intercourse with them in some of the different places where he knew cameras couldn't see him. Of course, he's going to know all this, so I was going to turn that camera off one time for everyone. Mom on, right? Now, 2 grown consensual adults, hey, we're not even here. Who gives a fuck? Hey, if she's an inmate and he's a fucking officer and they want to fucking bone one time for their mind, hey, as long as it's consenting, they're adults. Sasuke, ponle. Handle your bin. Give him a meal reach around while you're at it, right? That's up to them. Now, if a guy is exerting his power and by force, now we got a problem, Messi. This ain't SPM. Now we got a problem, right? Problem being that you never take a woman out of her comfort zone. No means no, right? And there's no reason a man or a woman should be pushing up on someone because they're vulnerable and they're in a position where they can't speak out or fight for themselves, man. That's not cool. That's not good. We all know that. We all know this. At the same time, this is what's being alleged. Now, is it true? It could be a big old conspiracy and they could be saying, hey, this guy did this because they didn't like him. And they said, well, fuck you, toma se pura. You're going to catch the wrath of a woman's scorn because you didn't give me applesauce that night, right? We don't know. But at the same time, this man is definitely on trial. There's been several photos. There's several women, up to 6, that are alleging this. Usually the proof is in the pudding, man. Anything more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then goddamn, you're out, right? You've had plenty of strikes, and foul balls, bunt or something. Get the fuck on down to first base. Either way, it's unfortunate that this type of stuff happens or was able to happen for such a long period of time. This was over a course of several years that this rape club actually happened and went on. Now, are other officers involved? Well, I can't call it like an alcoholic. I don't want to put nothing on anyone's plato, but at the same time, everybody likes a taco, right? So I'm sure there was different instances and different times when other people were involved. And like I said, this story just came across my feed and I thought it rather interesting, because women, like I said, are like a delicate flower, whether they're in prison or not. And I know some of them bitches look but smugly, right? God damn, you see him, Sasuke? I look like the homeboy Jaime right there. That's the homeboy Jaime Stia, right? Yeah, I mean, some of them look like they'll do bad things to you, but at the same time, they're still women. And they need to be respected as such, and they need to be treated like that. When people are incarcerated, man, they're just there to do their time. Now, if they get involved in reindeer games, they get involved in politics, political things, rules and regulations, and whatever the case may be, gang violence, whatever, hey, what happens, happens. They know what they signed up for, and I'm sure they'll take that accordingly, the repercussions for that action. But at the same time, let's say, when it comes to women don't really fall into those politics. See, I've had a tia that did time, rest in peace to my tia Lupe, right? Who did some real time in Chowchilla back in the days when it was rocking, when women were getting whacked, hit, killed, all kinds of stuff, things of that nature, like when it was real, the 90s, 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And she told me a lot of stories. And what I've come to find out is that in women's prisons, I've never been there, right? But in women's prisons, it's always going to be secondhand information, fucking with your boy on the women's prison shit. They don't fight over gangs or colors. Now, of course, if there's some highness from Los, they're going to kick it with their homegirls from Los. Some highness from Frisco, Sanjo, they're going to kick it with their homegirls. But at the end of the day, they're not fighting over the different sides or the gangs or anything. There are some hyenas that do fucking gangbang and they're about that shit. But when it comes to prison for women, that's not what it's all about. It's all about pussy, right? It's all about relationships. It's all about fighting over that next chick. That's mostly what it's very sexual. It's very emotional when it comes to women. Women's have a lot of emotions. They wear them on their sleeves. There's some fucking watos that are hyenas that wear it on their sleeve too. So you gotta just cut that shit off, right? But that's just the way the world is, and that's the way the world works. And people that are in position of power, like correctional officers or anyone, it could be a counselor, a fucking a worker, that comes in, knows this. They know that these women are very vulnerable. They're very emotional. They're separated from their children, from their families. They need that shoulder to lean on. So I gotta get on the spot, right? Let's see where it dips. See where it dips, right? Go ahead and lean your motherfucking head right there, mija. I got something for you. You feel that? You feel that? It's an 11, but I wear it clean though. There's different things. If it's consensual, if the woman's like, shit, I love it. I like an 11 late night, right? Hey, who am I to fucking wolf on it and be mad? But if I'm fucking punking the bitch, or if I'm saying, hey, you're going 11, right? Nah, that's different. That's weirdo stuff, humps. That's very unbecoming. That's rather unbecoming. And at that point in time, man, you become an R. Kelly, right? And we don't need that in our lives. Definitely don't. So what these women are alleging that this warden did, like I said, was run this club, this heinous area where they basically had no choice but to indulge or to involve themselves in what he had going on. Because if not, there would be hold time. Of course, you know, a lot of these women are saying that he actually was cool. He didn't get violent with these women. There's several other women that are saying he did. We're going to find out. You know, when it comes to what's going to be unfortunate in this situation is if they choose his word over theirs just because they're convicts or inmates. I don't believe this should hold a bearing. I believe everyone should have their due process, their due justice, and their rights. Him as well. You know, I've seen plenty of people spoken on, man, and just thrown under the bus for some bullshit. At the end of the day, if he is or was doing this and forcing these women to do this, bury that motherfucker one time for your mind. Spend some Latina. I'm not saying do violent. I'm just saying. You see what I'm saying? Anyways, with that being said, Gente, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Look up the case. Google it, man. You know, Dublin, it happened, and it was very unfortunate. The way it's all going to play out, we will only see. He went on trial just 2 days ago. And we'll see how this works out. I don't even know if YouTube's going to post this. If they do, it's for educational purposes and informational only. And it's true. It's real life. Things happen. You know, I've seen several instances where bitches get knocked in prison and men get knocked in prison. But like I said, if it's consensual, no one hates. How can you? You know, you can't hate on two people that fall in love. Shit, my homeboy fell in love with a kitchen worker that she wasn't actually a CO. She was a worker. They fell in love. They're married to this day. She quit her job. He quit crime. And they have a beautiful family together. You don't know who gets put in your path. And just because you're from two different walks of life or two different situations doesn't mean it won't work out. Anyways, with that being said, I just wanted to put that out there for today. I hope you move smooth with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about struggling and striving for your familia. And paying attention to what's going on around you, man. Staying aware. You know, stories like this, although they happen all the time, man, it's just an unfortunate situation. With that being said, hit that like and subscribe with your thumbs up. If not, you can hit that thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears this crown. I'm going to continue to struggle and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the realness, man. People coming together, man, just showing some love. You already know what it is. This is the gun. Bang, bang. And in that fashion.